Welcome to Koder Koala. Dive deeper into computer science and tech. Let's learn and grow together. Welcome to the very first episode of the Koder Koala podcast. Today we have with us Anubhav Singh, who has done really amazing things at a very young age. He's a Google developer expert in two domains, machine learning and Google Cloud Platform. Anubhav is also a Code Vipassana Community Lead. He's currently working as an AI engineer with Weights and Biases. In the past, he had founded his own startup called Callchimp.ai. He was the lead organizer for Google developer groups Cloud Kolkata, and he has conducted several tech sessions as a tech speaker, been mentor at hackathons and mentored tons of people in tech. Let's not forget, he is a TEDx speaker. So we have the real jack of all trades with us today. Welcome, Anubhav.
Thank you.
So, this is like all of the things that Anubhav has done. It's so impressive. And I'm just like very inspired to have someone like this and who has done so many things. I think you're only 28.
Yes, I'm 28.
Yeah, so he's already done so many things by now. Founded a startup, been a TEDx speaker, like Google developer expert in two domains. That's just incredible. So, how did your journey in tech begin?
My journey in tech, I think it started pretty early on in my life. I got interested in computers somewhere like around my UKG or class 1. Um, it was mostly because I saw people playing computer games and I was like really thrilled by seeing that something like this is possible with a computer, right? So yeah, initially it was about wanting to make a game myself, and somewhere around 2012 I got like really interested in creating websites. So I self-taught myself PHP, MySQL. Those were the technologies in demand back in
Right.
2012, right? So I taught myself those by tutorials on the internet, and mostly tutorials, right? No videos because my internet did not support YouTube. Uh, yeah, so I created a social network and a search engine. Launched them in 2012. They were like the top. It was among the top 1,000 websites of India by traffic in that year, and yeah, close to like 1 million monthly activities on the platform. Legit activities, right? With like ignoring the spam part, and yeah, I think from there, because it was a social network and it was also a search engine, and I just wanted to make the search engine better, make it more strong in delivering the search results. I remember Elasticsearch was getting formed at around the same time,
Right.
and I studied a lot of their code, what they had done, saw the ideas, and tried to implement it myself and try to improve it myself. Right, so that is where I started learning about information retrieval, natural language processing. I did my first NLP project with PHP back in like 2013.
Wow.
I made this chatbot. It was a template based chatbot, so kind of inspired from Eliza, and
Right.
yeah, I was able to make it do simple things like detecting entities in a sentence, determining routes between 2 points because I fed it the entire globe's data as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did all of that, and I think from there it has all like been a very straightforward journey of being interested in machine learning a lot, but then at the same time also not giving up on my web development side. And along the way, when you are like in web, when you are in ML, you also tend to pick up cloud because from both ends you come here to deploy,
Right.
or maybe to train, right? So yeah, so cloud came along.
Wow. That's a pretty amazing journey, and you just started doing all this while you were in school, which is so impressive. So I assume that you did your schooling in India, and in India mostly people study in either CBSE, ICSE, or state board.
Yes.
And computer science is not that advanced. As you said, you learned PHP, and you developed your website and did all of these ML things. So what got you motivated? Did you have peers who were also in the same things, or did you have teachers who helped you with this?
Yeah, not my peers, and definitely not teachers who were into this. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously the want to make a game, that was obviously the first, and I think there was a little bit of um, this restriction which I had. Right, my internet was so bad that I could not. I simply could not use a lot of websites, right? I had to stick to not using YouTube. I always had to look for text alternatives.
Right.
One of the main motivations behind making my own search engine was that, sorry, my own social network, was that I wanted to make a social network which loads within 3 seconds, even on a horrible network like mine. Yeah, we
Right.
were like at
I think Facebook was the
30.
rage back then.
Yeah, Facebook had just come up with a new interface. So the previous interface of Facebook used to render pretty fast. But then when they changed to a newer interface, it started loading very slow on my internet, right? My internet was like 40, 50 kbps. Right? So yeah, one of the goals was that. So when I created my own social network, we had like all the pages loading under 2 seconds.
Wow.
And like huge amount of optimizations. Images being lazy loaded wasn't exactly uh, you know the default standard back then, right? It was something which was found in like very advanced websites.
Right.
So yeah, I think not being able to use most of the internet on a very slow network, and then combine that with my my passion to create something, to build something and let people use. So I think that was there, definitely. And then yeah, I think one thing led to another. Made a website, uh, tried to make it complex. Obviously, not the most ideal thing to build as your first project, but definitely very challenging. A lot of learnings.
Yeah.
Um
And
yeah, and
that
I
too, as
think
a school student, I mean, these are things
yeah.
that even engineering students struggle with. So,
No, I think there was there was some symbols of being addicted to doing this. I mean, I could do this like I remember back in 2012. I was like, I used to wake up, have breakfast, sit on the computer for like the entire day,
wow.
and go to sleep at around midnight and repeat for like almost entire month. And I think that's something which has continued almost always.
Wow, that's so inspiring and so amazing. Um, so yeah, like you are a GD in two domains, which is like super impressive in two different domains. Um, so people always tend to say that you can only be an expert in one thing. You can't be an expert into multiple things. So, so my question is that how did you become a GD, first thing, and how did you become a GD in two different domains?
Yeah, so becoming a GD in itself is not about going and applying to become a GD. It's more like Google recognizes people in the community who have a strong say, and people listen to their opinions. So Google recognizes these kind of people with the GD program by offering them to join the program. And one way to do this offering is that they take referrals from existing GDs or Googlers, right? So in 2022, I was going around giving talks like I always do, and on multiple occasions, people approached me and asked me like, "Hey, are you a GD?" And I was like, "Wait, I'm not." Right? So yeah, I mean, a lot of people asking me that, "Are you a GD?" And then a lot of people offering me to refer me to the program. I think that is how it happened. I just chose one of them to do it because he was kind of the first person who was truly inspiring to me, and
Wow.
he was almost the first GD I met, right? So yeah, I asked him for the referral and he did that. Becoming GD in two domains, I think it's pretty easy, to be honest. I mean, people who say that you just have to stick to one domain, um, maybe they are lazy, right? Because how do you stick to one domain? I mean, I don't see how do you stick to a single domain in tech. You're working on websites, you have got to deploy it somewhere. and if you're going to deploy it, then there's going to be security issues, there's going to be compliance issues. How do you not deal with that, right? So
Right.
I understand if you're part of a big corporation, you have people to delegate stuff, it works for you. But if you're working alone, if you have uh, an end-to-end journey of building a product, launching it, and then even being there for the product after the launch, right? So if you're doing that, you get involved with design, you get involved with marketing, right? Even customer support. So all of that you have to do. So how do you
Right.
not, over time, how do you not become an expert in those things, right? So I think being a GD, in my special case, like I think it's ML and cloud. Um, where do you go to train your models, right? I had a like low end laptop with me. Where do you go to train your models? Where do you go to deploy them, right?
Right.
So anyway, you are going to start using cloud, you're going to start deploying things on the cloud, inference APIs are going to run there, and once you deploy them, then you have challenge of scaling, availability, right? So you have anyway got to deal with that, right, if you're working on the project alone. So I think a lot of my exploration in tech has been because I've done a lot of projects alone. As much
Right.
as I uh, advocate for build with a team,
Hmm.
I think it's like really important for people to at least do a couple of projects completely alone as well.
And end to end.
End to end, right from the idea stage to getting it out there in the hands of people.
Right.
And when the people start using it, when they start finding issues with the app, when they start making it crash, then being there to fix it as well,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, I mean, if you're not a lazy person, I think you're anyway going to have a lot of domains to work with if you're in tech.
You were referred by another GD, that is a Google developer expert, who asked you to become one, and you were doing a lot of these, speaking at a lot of tech conferences, tech events, and all.
Yeah.
So these are all community-based events, right? So you have been, part of the tech community for a very long time. So can
Yes.
you tell us like how it started, how the tech community has helped you in your journey?
Yeah. Okay, so after my school life, I went for college in Kolkata.
Hmm.
And one good thing about Kolkata was that in West Bengal and nearby adjacent states, I did not have a single relative.
Okay.
Right. So what that meant was I could completely, keep my head down, focus, and get things done. But it comes at a cost. I mean, you are in a place where you're completely alone, and you don't really have any strong friends or reliable people to fall back to. And especially if you're in a private engineering college in India, there's going to be very, very few people who are going to be maybe passionate about technology,
Right.
passionate about doing a few crazy things together,
Right.
right? So I think it was in search of those kind of people that I talked to a lot of seniors in my college, and turns out by the end of my first 3 months in college, I was more in touch with my college seniors than my own batchmates. And
Right.
one good thing that came out of it was that there was a Google event happening in Kolkata
Hmm.
somewhere around June 2017, and that was the end of my first year. Towards the end of my first year, I think my exams were starting 2 days later. Right. So he told me that there's an event like this. Do you want to go? And I told him, yes, please. I mean, exams can take a back seat, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is how it started. I went to that event, did not talk to anyone, spent the entire event alone, came back. And after coming back, I started stalking the speakers.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, the speakers and the organizers, the people I saw on the stage, because anyway did not talk to anyone. No one knew me. I did not know anyone. And I
Right.
was, let's be honest, I have been a bit introvert all through, right? So after coming back, I tried Googling people up, tried finding their LinkedIn's and Twitter's. I was always good at stalking people. Uh, that's been a talent. So I found them, and I started talking to them, and that is how I
You
met.
can call it as social engineering.
Yeah, I mean, it's research, right?
Right. Yeah,
It's
definitely.
so I talked with a person called Manisha Biswas,
Hmm.
and she told me that she was trying to build some communities in Kolkata, and I was like, sure, why not? Let's do that. And turns out that the community she was trying to establish was GDZ Kolkata. right? So that is how GDC was revived again in Kolkata. And the first event that we attended, there were like two attendees, two volunteers, and one speaker.
Wow. Wow.
Right. So
So it
yeah.
always starts small. And I think in the last GDG, Cloud Community Days, how many people were there?
There were roughly 850 people. In 2023, we had like 2,800 people.
Right.
This time we are expecting around 1,000.
Okay, so that's how you grow. So for everyone who are starting out something, this is how you start. Just with two attendees, you go to 2,800. So yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that's where GDG Kolkata started, and for me, honestly, it was more about being with Manisha, because she was like really passionate about communities and helping people. And I think I got a lot of learning from her about how to be very very selfless when you are in a community, when you are at the organizer of the community, when you are at the top, how not to make that impact upon people who are trying to kind of grow within the community, right? So she was very open to ideas, very very willing to let people have a chance. And I think I took this lesson from her when I started my own community in college around 2019. I think one of the mottos that ran in our community was that everyone deserves a chance, right? And whenever anyone told me that hey, I want to present on this topic, I never said no, right? And that continues with the other community I led, GDG Cloud Kolkata. We still have the same policy there, that if anyone reaches out to us saying that hey, I want to present, we will always at least once give you a stage, right? So I think when you do that, when you let people around you grow, you grow yourself, right? And uh, that has been, I think, the primary driver for my own growth. There's this example which I give to when I was running communities actively as a lead. I used to tell people a lot, the new leaders, right? So I used to conduct um, support channels for new community organizers. I was doing that for like 3 years, and I used to give them this one example that you need to compare the biggest or the tallest thing that nature has made and the tallest thing that humans have made, right? So if you look at the tallest thing that uh, what humans have made, right? The Burj Khalifa, right? The tallest building out there. If you look at the picture of Burj Khalifa, you will notice that it stands like some 800, 850 meters high, and around it the buildings, they hardly go up to, let's say, 400 or 500, hardly, right? Not even half of it. And it kind of, if you look at it from a distance, it seems like it's standing alone in a desert.
Yeah.
But if you look at Mount Everest, right? It stands at what, 8,800, right? So 11 times. And if you look at the picture of Mount Everest, you won't be able to really tell which one is the Mount Everest unless someone really points it out saying that this is the tallest peak, right? Because just around that, you find all these like second highest, third highest, fourth highest peaks. All of them are around it, right? And that is exactly how you grow yourself, right? If you keep very tall people around you, you will grow tall. Wow. Right. So I think that's pretty much been the journey of community for me. If I want to grow within the community, I have to make sure that the people around me are growing.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So people tend to say this one thing about, they'll say healthy competition. Your focus, what you learned through your community experience is about collaboration, like growing through collaboration rather than having healthy competition. In the kind of world that we live in, which is very capitalistic, of course, so people tend to run in the rat race and try to leave the other person behind. Many people have the chatur from Three Idiots mentality. So you defied it by proving ki collaboration. So if you have to choose between competition, a lot of times people say healthy competition is okay. Competition and collaboration, what would you choose as a means to grow?
I mean, given the option, I always choose collaboration, because two people doing something together is always going to get better results than both of them doing it individually and failing, right? So I think Yeah, I have probably never subscribed to the idea of healthy competition. I've almost always been like, there's enough water in the ocean for all the fishes, right? So
Right.
that's pretty much the same with the capitalist world as well. For those who are, willing to collaborate, I think there's enough capital out there for everyone.
That's pretty amazing. So all of this is so inspiring to hear. So now I want to know this thing. So you are again a Code Vipassana community lead. So Code Vipassana is again another tech community. So let's talk a bit more about that. So what is Code Vipassana?
Yeah, so Code Vipassana in itself, while obviously has a community around it, the core idea of Code Vipassana has always been to get things done, right? And they always have these cohorts, which they call seasons, in which people come together, they build stuff, right? Not just talk about it, but rather jump in, run some terminal commands, do some code, get something running, put something live. So it's a very hands-on approach to learning, and you have these community leads like us who support you if you kind of get into trouble, if you get stuck somewhere, if you see unexpected billing, things like those. The good part of Code Vipassana is also that it's kind of a starter for anyone who wants to just take a taste of GCP,
Right.
because you get these small credits which are completely instrumentless, and you can just grab one of the codes and start using GCP for like 6 months, I believe. So you get in and it's up to you. Explore for 6 months, build something. If you build something good, then you also get visibility. You also get like certificates, and I am aware of other prizes as well. So I think it's a completely win-win situation, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah,
if I was an
absolutely.
attendee, I would just be like, hey, I'm getting a Google Cloud credit. I'm getting good amount of learning, like
Also,
actually
people,
very good amount of learning.
students who don't have a credit card or debit
Yeah.
card, for them, those credits, those Google Cloud credits, just to explore cloud can be so helpful.
I mean, not just students, I mean, even professionals, because
Yeah,
turns out you don't ever want to risk your credit card getting burnt by a cloud bill,
right,
right? It's a
absolutely.
popular meme. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
anyone who has worked with cloud has come across that meme, and I think it's just a very good safety net. You stay within the safety net of the credits which have been provided to you, and
Right,
you build these cool stuff, and I mean, if nothing else, then it's a good addition to putting it on your resume as one of the good projects that you have built, because
right,
all the projects that the folks in Code Vipassana help you build, all of them are like, they are, first of all, they are production grade, and then you have like really good coding practices in those code labs, because Googlers are running it, and all the code labs which are run within Code Vipassana, they have one or the other Googler involvement,
right,
and that ensures that whatever you are building is like good quality code.
right, absolutely. So, so for a beginner, how can Code Vipassana be helpful, and how can they leverage it for their, learning purpose?
Yeah, I mean, participate in Code Vipassana once, and then again twice, and then thrice maybe, right? Because you participate once, you get like you get to build these couple of projects which are like really cool, and then you have some time to explore yourself, and then come back for another round, because technology keeps changing, and Code Vipassana topics have not stuck to the past.
Right,
Whatever is latest in the market, they always build the curriculum around that, and every 6 months come back and maybe learn something new which is like hot in the market. So yeah, I don't see it as a one-time thing. I would rather say, even as a beginner, or even as someone who is already in the industry wanting to explore cloud, or even
right.
if you are someone who is in cloud and you have not got time to explore the latest stuff, I
Hmm.
think it's very relevant for you. Come in, see what's going on, and it's always about the cutting edge of technology. So yeah, if you like exploring that, then please do participate in one of these.
So, as a person who, who's very curious and who's like an explorer, so say someone is attending Code Vipassana and they're a beginner and, they are feeling overwhelmed by it. They are feeling scared and intimidated by the new things that they're learning,
Yeah.
and sometimes they're not understanding certain things. So how would you say that they can understand, like, what would your suggestion be as a person who has explored and learned so much and gained so much experience, for such people to be able to like clear their doubts and have a better grip in the subject?
Yeah, I mean, if someone is like, if the content of one of these workshops goes way above someone's head, I'll just say that, hey, that's pretty much what new learning looks like every time, be it in code, be it in any other domain as well, right? You can't just expect to listen a medical conference and understand all of it,
Right.
right? You have got to do your background research,
Right.
and while you are at the conference, maybe you cannot do it right then, but then you can always go back home and pick the topics, search about them, try to read. Maybe you will still not understand it fully, but you will still have learned at least a few topics which will help you understand the next session better, right? So as any new learning goes, uh, it's always going to surprise you a little, it's going to feel a little out of reach, but then you always have to keep this in mind that if you sit down and study about it, then you're anyway going to understand, right? So there's nothing to tell you that you cannot do it, it's more about when will you do it, right?
Oh, that's
So
pretty amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so don't worry about it, just whatever you can understand from the session, it's okay. Even if you don't understand anything, pick the topics, research those topics, learn about those topics the way you understand them, right?
Right.
See YouTube videos, read blogs, talk to someone who knows about it, and
Right.
then when you see the content again, you will have a better understanding. You'll obviously not be the expert in it, but
Right.
then yeah, when you have some understanding, then you know which topics to pick up next.
Right.
Repeat.
Yeah, so I think the approach should be more like, even if you are not that great in it, just do it
Yes.
and keep doing it and keep, surrounding yourself with that, even if it feels scary and intimidating.
Yeah.
And then, you like in no time realize that, hey, I have become an expert. So
Exactly.
the goal is to be a curious explorer and then go
Yeah.
about. And I think now I would like to add something. Gemini is there. There are so many other LLMs as well. People can just prompt it and keep asking questions to, explain this to me. Explain this to me like I'm a 5 year old, and they can keep doing it and you know like speed up their learning process.
Surely, I mean, see, learning is always iterative,
Right.
right? It's not a one-shot learning.
Right.
We are in some ways similar to ML models.
Yeah.
We will produce some errors on the first reading of a book,
Right.
and then you go for a second reading. So yeah, you will keep improving. Just keep iterating.
Since you're a Google developer expert in Google Cloud, could you please tell us why it is important to learn about Google Cloud in this day and age?
Um, I won't just say it's important to learn about just Google Cloud. I will say it's important to learn about cloud because cloud, uh, in the general concept of how it is, I think it's like really important today because we are no longer stuck to maybe serving textual content to people, right? That is how the concept of the server started
Right.
long back.
Hmm.
You had a machine which was serving textual data to people over the internet,
Hmm.
and now you have multimedia, and beyond multimedia, in today's date, you also have these AI models running, and the models themselves have to be like really fast in producing their outputs, and they are very resource hungry, right? So the traditional server, uh, the CPU based server,
Right.
right? So now that has kind of become uh, better suited for, let's say, serving regular web pages,
Hmm.
right? And a lot of uh, content that we serve, maybe AI models, maybe online gaming, and even, let's say, very high quality video streams, right? All of those are like really intensive, and you want to have, first of all, you want to have very powerful systems which are running them, and at the same time, it's not feasible to run that many powerful systems continuously, right? So you just want to run maybe one of them when there's low traffic, maybe run a lot of them when there's higher traffic. The amount of data that we are handling today has gone like beyond several thousand petabytes probably, right? So we are again we have crossed the threshold of what a single device can contain, right? So yeah, all of these factors combined, I think we are at a stage where um, no single server or maybe no single storage drive is capable of giving you global scale applications,
Right.
right? So you want to have auto scaling infrastructure, you want to have infrastructure that is capable of using multiple servers, using multiple storage devices, and then also going beyond CPU to maybe GPU systems or even specialized hardware systems.
Right.
And that is where you come to the concept of cloud, because let's be honest, it's not possible for people like us to set up their own GPU cluster tomorrow for our home uses,
Right.
right? Maybe we are making a hobby website and we want to serve a small AI model on them. We can't just buy a GPU and provision it 24/7 to run there, because GPUs tend to get like really hot. It's impractical to run a GPU 24/7 on the home internet and home electricity. You would rake up a very large bill. So all factors combined, it's just better to get it from someone who has tons of them and provides you a slice of it as a service.
Right.
And that is where you come to the idea of these cloud service providers, and anyone who is able to use the services that they provide in a good manner for running their applications at minimal possible cost. I think they are the smartest people out there right now. Not having to worry about power failures, electricity bills, uh, maybe your cooling isn't working because you can't have liquid cooling at home.
Right.
Yeah, your cooling isn't working, your GPUs are burning out every other day, right? So you just cut down on all that hassle. You just go with cloud services, and you build your product, you ship it out to people. Maybe once you grow very big, right? Maybe once your business is like so big that your cloud bill does not make sense, then you can start exploring for your on-prem devices, and you will have the capital to do so at that
Right.
point of time.
Once you become someone like Google.
Yeah,
Or maybe not that much.
there's
There are many
there's been a
companies.
shift of very large companies looking to move on-prem, not completely, but at least in a hybrid mode. And I understand that, because you are so large that there are some requirements which are specific to not being on cloud. It's okay.
Right.
And yeah, but at the same time, for startups, for students, for uh, early career professionals, right? So for all of us, it does not make sense to go for a complete GPU cluster setup at home,
Right.
unless you are like very interested in those and really want to set that up just out of passion.
Right. So, I mean, it can also be very helpful. Like, as you said, you had, built your own social network while you were in school. So
Yeah.
that was like you were an indie maker, sort of. So I think cloud can be very helpful for indie makers, people who make indie games or
Yeah, I got introduced to cloud VPS back in 2012, and
wow.
I remember when I was studying PHP, when I was just starting to learn things, App Engine and um, AWS Lambda were just launching, right? So there were ads about them on every technical blog, right? So Google's App Engine was like a very very new service back then, and I had tried it at that time, right? So
Wow.
by the time my school finished, I had used up all my cloud trials of AWS, Azure, and
Google Cloud.
Google Cloud, maybe a couple of others as well.
Wow, wow, that's pretty inspiring. Um, so you've shared your journey so far about learning and all. So what would you suggest someone who is just going to start their journey on, say, Google Cloud or cloud in general? What is the easiest thing that they can do today to get started?
The easiest thing to get started would be to install a fresh Ubuntu VM on your system.
Hmm.
Start learning about how uh, how to use the terminal, and how exactly does uh, a machine have, like, how exactly does a virtual machine use or utilize resources, what are resources, and what it means to combine two VMs together,
Hmm.
right, over the network,
Would you
right?
suggest someone to do dual booting on their Windows laptop?
I don't think you require dual booting now. I think Windows did a good job there. They came up with the, I think, subsystem, right? WSL, Windows subsystem for Linux. You have that. But otherwise, I think you can just install VMware, or
Right.
maybe even, Docker, and try to make two Docker VMs communicate. Try to create a system where you have these two Docker VMs and you are using their pool resources for running a application, right? So if you are able to do something like this, I think you have understood cloud and you're ready to scale to any number, right? So yeah, my own learning of cloud began strongly in 2016,
Hmm.
and my first introduction to cloud was by trying to create my own cloud, right?
Wow.
So I had just started working with a professor in my college. That was somewhere around June of my first year of college,
Wow.
and he gave me the task that, hey, this is a tool called OpenStack, and you have to create your own cloud using this. And yeah, this is pretty much what I did. Like, I just had my own laptop and my roommate's laptop. So when you have two laptops, how do you create a cloud with that? I installed a couple of VMs on both of them, and tried to pool the resources and show them in a single dashboard, right? So that
Wow.
is how I
That's
learned what it
amazing.
means to have resources, what network is like, how to configure routers, IPs, floating IPs, and all that, how to configure all of those. um, yeah, so no better way of learning cloud than trying to create your own.
So that is amazing.
Yeah, the approach which I took is similar to climbing a mountain, by doing all your training and then slowly, step by step, climbing a mountain. But then, yeah, I mean, if you ask me, like, what are the ways of climbing a mountain, there's always the path which I took, slowly climbing the mountain.
Right.
The other path which you can do is you can straight up take a flight, crash land on the mountain, right? And I think if you want a crash course, go ahead with Code Vipassana, join one of the sessions, learn about how these resources are working and interacting, and you reach the top of the mountain anyway. It's up to you how you want to do it.
That's amazing. So, Code Vipassana also has a very active uh, community on Discord. So you can join our Discord server. I'll be putting the link in description. You can find it there. So Code Vipassana is going to start season 10 now. So what is Code Vipassana season 10 all about? What is the buzz about?
Yeah, interesting that we are at season 10. I joined the Code Vipassana cohort from 1,
Right.
right? So yeah, it's been so long. Yeah, so season 10, I think, as I mentioned earlier as well, that they are always on the cutting edge of technology. So this time, I think, I saw the sessions. They are talking a lot about AI agents, and they're also talking about MCP quite frequently,
Hmm.
right? So I think,
That's the
if
new
you ask
buzz.
me, the focus this time is on AI agents, MCP, and then obviously the goodness of Google Cloud. And yeah, I think really excited to see that happening, because someone from Google talking about MCP and AI agents, definitely.
That's just amazing. Uh, so you talked a lot about AI agents. Gen AI is the buzz, but has been the buzz rather, and now AI agents is going everywhere. So what is the connection between them? How are they different, and how can one like learn how to build AI agents? What should they know to get started with building AI agents?
Okay, so let me break it down into two parts. First of all, what is generative AI, and then what are AI agents, right? So generative AI in itself is the underlying foundation of let's say models, or even if you simplify that, oversimplify that, let's say it's the base mathematics of being able to predict what comes next given a certain pattern, right? So the idea of generative AI, not just for text, but for images and all derivatives henceforth. You put multiple images, you get a moving video. You have audio spectrograms, you convert it to audio, right? So you can use the idea of images and text to create entire movies with subtitles, right? So yeah, the idea of generative AI is to mimic the generation of human content, right? So they try to, given a certain pattern, they try to predict what comes next or what should be coming next. And then there's ways to guide that generation, right? So you can always give it instructions to make that generation happen in a slightly different way. But then that is what generative AI focuses on by itself, right? Generative AI focuses on generating human-like content.
Right.
That is where it ends. But when you start adding engineering over it, when you add some ways of bringing in real world data to generative AI while it is preparing for the prediction part, right, the inference part. So you add more data to the initial pattern which is going in, and you could connect it to internet, you could connect it to systems which fetch internal data, and you could also connect to it tools or APIs which can be executed on the basis of what the model predicts, right? So you could just tell it that, hey, these are the tools available, and we have these parameters for calling these tools. Let me know which one to call. And the model tells you that, hey, based on what input pattern you have provided me initially, I predict that this is what you should be doing next. And it's up to you how you do that. You can pick it up, execute it on a different system, or execute it within the running script of the generative AI application that you are building. But then when you put all these things together, let's just, for the sake of simpleness, assume they are running on a single system, and you have a generative AI model at the backend which is making decisions. Maybe you're feeding it pictures, it's deciding what to do with the pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe you're asking it to generate images and then send it to someone, right? It could be anything. These models could be anything at the backend, but you have enabled it with external data, which may be your company's internal data or your own internal data, could be internet data, or let's just say synthetic data for that matter, right? You involve data, you involve some tools, and then uh, within the system you also involve ways to get those tools to execute, right? So you end up with a agentic AI, right? In general, we call it an AI agent.
Right.
And the AI agent is capable of using the generative models as the backend of its thinking process, right? So obviously it's not thinking. If you deep dive into this, you know that it's just taking an input pattern and predicting the next token, but then it mimics the idea of thinking. And I think that's very similar to how even humans think, right? So a lot of time our output to a certain input changes by what experiences we have had, and the idea of those experiences mixing with the current input that we are getting, that is the input pattern that we are talking about, right? So the generative AI model works in a similar fashion. It mimics the concept of thinking using generative models, and then it also decides to take actions. These actions are executed by the tools, and you have a complete AI agent, which is usually it's specializing in getting one task done, but you could have multi-agent systems in which you have multiple experts, and then you have one manager kind of who decides that which experts should be brought in to execute this task, in what pattern, in what manner. You could have completely autonomous AI agent which just exists and wait for input, and whenever it gets the input it starts doing its job. So yeah, I mean, you can go wild with the idea of AI agents, and for someone who is wanting to build one such, I would say you need to have a decent understanding of Python, maybe some TypeScript as well, because most of the AI agent libraries or frameworks out there, they are written in Python or TypeScript. Definitely other languages are supported, but the amount of ready content you will get on the internet for those is less. So yeah, learn Python or else learn TypeScript, and learn about these tools. How do you make these tools? How do you, depending on your use case, you might have to make tools for your computer systems, let's say running on the terminal, or maybe you have to make tools which run in the browser, maybe go and check out a website, do something on the website. So yeah, it depends on your use case, but mostly Python and TypeScript will get you to the finish line. And obviously you need to understand how LLMs work, how uh, maybe not just LLMs, let's not limit ourselves, VLMs as well, right? So you need to understand how the generative AI model is working, how it's behaving, and how to better give it the instructions, um, the input pattern which I've been talking about. Let's call it context, right? So how to make context work better.
That was very informative. As you talked about, AI agents, it's pretty interesting. It's like, taking automation to the next level, I would say, like making it even more powerful and robust. So, Code Vipassana Season 10 revolves around Agent Development Kit, which is Google's latest offering. So, let's talk more about, what is Agent Development Kit, how we can learn about it, how it can help us.
Yeah, the Agent Development Kit released by Google recently, it provides a structured framework for how you include these tools in your code, how you define agents or maybe even multi-agent systems.
Right.
And personally, I have not yet built a project with Agent Development Kit, and maybe that's why I'll be joining season 10 myself to see how to build one.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, at least I'm very excited. I know it starts today evening, and I'll definitely be in at least one of the sessions so that I know how to build something with the ADK.
That's amazing. Let's talk about your startup ventures. So you had founded Callchimp.ai, where you were the CEO, CTO as well. So what would Callchimp.ai do, and what was your journey like? Running your own startup.
Yeah, we started Callchimp. It was more of like two or three friends who came together to try to solve challenges in the communications industry, right? So telecommunication industry, and we had a floating problem statement from the market about making call centers more technically savvy, right? So yeah, we started Callchimp with the idea that we'll have an AI assistant for call center employees to be able to get things done faster. But when we started working on it back in 2021, we kind of established the company in May. So yeah, we started working on it like around March 2021. And yeah, once we started developing the AI assistant, we realized very quickly that we could make the AI take over the entire call, right? The human becomes the assistant, right? So we thought it was like really ambitious at that time because GPT and all, they were not in the market. And we started looking at GPT-2, in fact, for some of the initial part of what we were building. So we made Callchimp.ai. Eventually, it became a virtual call center on cloud with like AI agents. So each call was handled by an AI agent, which was specific to that campaign. And yeah, we did like more than around 2.5, 3 million calls in a frame of like 1.5 year. And the journey itself was very interesting. I mean, I was like pretty much fresh out of college, like 6 months out of college when we started this. And I mean, we did it for like 4 years in which we had a lot of ups and downs. And, you know, I kind of saw my hair go gray for a while, right? Yeah. So it's been a very interesting journey. I think will I do it again? Definitely, right? So someday I'll try something else, but for now I'm just resting. And yeah, that's pretty much been the idea of working with Callchimp.
Wow, that's just amazing. Talking about gray hair, they say that as you gain more experience, your hair grays. So, you gained massive experience doing this in such a short time.
Yeah.
So I'll come to this very interesting thing. You said that you did your college from a private college back in
Yes.
Kolkata. And people always have this notion that, a person can only be successful or only make money or only, do great in life if they go to IIT. And that's why the whole rat race, the whole, quota factory thing, right? So you did not study in an IIT.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would you say like about this whole IIT, non-IIT thing? And how can, people learn from your own journey? Especially students who are, studying in non-IIT colleges, private colleges. So what can they do to, make things better for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very simple statistic around this. There are roughly what 320 countries in the world, and only one of them has an IIT, right? So, what are the rest of the countries doing? Are they not succeeding,
Right.
right? So, turns out yes, IIT will definitely get you some opportunities faster, maybe stronger opportunities, yes. But success in itself is more about being present at the right place at the right time with the right knowledge to grab an opportunity, right? So maybe in a private engineering college, you will not get opportunities that easily. Maybe you will have to struggle a bit more to get those opportunities there because you do not have a stronger alumni network, or maybe the kind of funding that these elite institutes have. But
Right.
yes, even if you are in an IIT, if you're not prepared to grab an opportunity, there's no point of having it, right? So the focus should always be on being prepared to grab opportunities. Whenever you get the smallest one, grab it, grow, right? And maybe after a few years out of college, it even stops mattering anymore, right?
Right.
So I mean, I don't remember the last time I hired someone just because they were at IIT. I looked at all the resumes the same way, right? I've seen like more than thousands of resumes for the roles that I've hired for, and college has been the least of my concerns most of the time, right?
That's amazing.
So
So it's about, the skills over the college or the degree
yes,
that the person has.
exactly.
That's amazing. So, so far you have, like worked as a startup founder. You have done so much of learning and so many things. And I think most developers, as they are, few years into their career, they start hitting burnout. So, did you hit burnout? And if you did, how did you recover from it?
Yeah, burnout is definitely a major concern, and especially it hits faster if you're in a work environment where you're having to put a lot of your energy, right? So in a startup, yes, that is what happens.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, right, if you're working on something you're like really really passionate about, um, and if you don't really consider your work as work but more like something that you're just doing for fun,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think the burnout settles in quicker. It will eventually
Mm.
someday, but
Yeah.
not quickly, right? So I think I had my first phase of burnout somewhere around like June, July 2022,
Mm.
and let's just say it was after almost a decade of working on projects continuously,
Right.
right? So when it did happen, uh, obviously it took me some time to realize that I was undergoing that. So I stopped, right? I did not code for a while, which I did not think was possible.
Mm.
For a few days, I did not code. Uh, I invested my time in traveling, meeting friends, just having a good time, and not thinking about work as such,
Mm.
right? I was still at my startup. I let my team handle things, and I was in Pune at that time. Monsoon is a great time to be in Pune. Almost every other day, I was traveling to these beautiful spots around the city, meeting a lot of people. I have a lot of friends in Pune, and I think That's what helped me heal like really fast, right?
Right.
Just 1 month later, I was shipping out code again like crazy, and I have not been in a burnout since then.
Wow.
Because, as I said, right, if you love what you're doing, it will come slower,
Hmm.
right? So, yeah, if you feel you are getting burnt out like really fast, maybe you want to look for a different place to be in.
Right.
And when it comes, don't deny it, embrace it. It's okay. People are supposed to get tired. We are not machines,
Right.
right? And when we are tired, the kind of code that we'll produce, the kind of decisions that we'll take, will not be good, right? So take a step back, relax, and let uh, let's put some more time for people around us, and our friends, families, people we kind of put on the back seat while we are busy in something,
Right.
right? So let's give them some time, and I think those are the people who can get you back on feet very soon.
Right, absolutely. So, like you said, we're not machines. Even machines, like when you were giving the example of GPU, even that
Yeah,
needs something to keep it running. It needs a cooling system.
definitely.
It can't just keep running like that. So, we humans also need to fall back on community, family, friends to help us navigate. So, coming to my final question of this podcast is that so you've been a software engineer. I mean, way before you did your engineering, I would say. So like I believe that you don't become an engineer by your degree,
Right.
but it's like by what you do. So imposter syndrome is something that is very common amongst software engineers everywhere. So, do you feel like an imposter sometimes? And if you do, then how do you deal with it?
uh, Interesting. I mean, who told the first software developer that he was a software developer or she was a software developer, right? No one told them. So maybe if there was a software developer conference, they did not know if they could go or not. So turns out you don't uh, become something just because you have got a job title for it, or maybe just because you have got a degree for it.
Right.
Um, I think you belong when you feel you belong, right?
Hmm.
And to feel that, you need to understand that it's not about fancy titles. It's more about looking at what the other people have done. Have you done similar things? Have you, worked with the technologies that they have worked with? Have you built similar products? If you think that you have, then there's absolutely no reason for you to feel like an imposter, because they might have a fancy title. They might even not have a title, right? I mean, I know a lot of my seniors and peers who don't have an engineering degree, but I know that if I sit with them, we can talk about technology for a very long time. So should they feel an imposter syndrome? I absolutely don't think so. I mean, they are absolutely insane and genius people, right? Why should they? So yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as you are able to demonstrate your knowledge, as long as you have that confidence in your knowledge, I don't think there's any reason for you to feel like you are not belonging. You are belonging. You're just not
Right.
realizing that.
So I think beginners face this a lot where they just start out, they feel like, okay, these people are insanely smarter than me. They are so much better. I think that comparison is what makes it worse. So would you have some tips for beginners who are just starting out, maybe from tech or non-tech background, wanting to become software engineers?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I have been told about this a lot, right? People thinking that, I'm just starting out. I don't know what to, how to, look up to these people. The very simple answer to this is you don't have to compare. You started late. And anyone who starts running the race late will be behind for a while. That's
Right.
okay. You can't magically teleport to ahead of them in the race, right? But you keep with your pace, you keep going, and you will probably catch up to them someday. Maybe if you do not catch up to them, when you turn back and see there are other people who are just starting out, right? So it's just a cycle. So it just goes on. You are a learner today, you will become an expert someday. You will look back, there are other learners who are looking at you, right? So don't worry about it. This is how life goes on. Yeah, just focus on your learning. Just focus on your own growth, and don't worry about where someone else is in the
Right.
in the the ladder of growing, or maybe in the race.
I think to not be a participant in the race, but to be a part of their own journey.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just focus on yourself. Find growth for yourself. See, uh, yeah, there's slightly philosophical about this, but the formula of success does not have the same composition for everyone, right?
Wow. Yeah.
For some of them, the factor of money might be high. For some of them, the factor of family might be high, right? And it's okay to build your own composition and stick with it.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Right? So there's no need to look at others. If you are happy with your formula, be happy with your formula.
That was just amazing. So a lot of tech, a lot of talking about AI, cloud, even philosophy of life. So this was really amazing. Thank you so much for being my very first guest for the very first episode of the Koder Koala podcast.
Thank you for having me, Orchidity, and lots of luck for you
Thank
for
you.
the growing Koder Koala.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching the podcast till the end. This podcast would not have been possible without the immense support that I got, especially from Anubhav, the speaker of the podcast, uh, Abhirami Sukumaran, lead developer advocate at Google. She's always been super supportive and encouraging. And of course, two of my really good and amazing friends, Siddhant and Yatik. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It would not have been possible without your support. And I'm immensely grateful to you people. Thank you so much. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.